A New You. Transform Your Life Immediately. Written and published by Stoic Ranger. Introduction. Transformation doesn't happen gently. It doesn't knock politely. It breaks the door down. It demands a funeral for your old self. If you want to become someone new, someone powerful, disciplined, fearless, you must bury the version of you that settles, that hesitates, that waits. You must choose rebirth. You must kill comfort, burn the excuses, and outgrow every environment that keeps you small. This book is not for the half-committed. It's for those who are done pretending. For those who are tired of wearing the mask of maybe one day while wasting their best years. It's for those who are ready to burn their bridges and never look back. Transformation is not a change of clothes. It's a change of soul, and the process is painful. It's not about becoming better, it's about becoming different. Powerful truths, each one meant to strip away a layer of your past, false beliefs, broken habits, dead weight, and reveal the version of you that's been buried under years of fear, distraction, and self-doubt. This is your wake-up call, your final warning. If you're ready to transform, read on. But remember, the old you must die for the new you to rise. Chapter 1. The Death of Comfort. Why your old life must end. The first and hardest step toward becoming a new version of yourself is realizing that your current comfort is the enemy. Most people don't change because they're not in enough pain. They learn to tolerate the frustration. They learn to live with the emptiness. They convince themselves that good enough is okay because change feels uncertain and comfort feels safe. But the truth is, comfort is not safety. It's a trap. It's a beautifully decorated prison cell that keeps you stuck in a cycle of wasted time, unmet goals, and quiet regret. Everything you dislike about your current life, whether it's the job you hate, the relationships that drain you, or the lack of confidence you carry, is connected to choices made in the name of comfort. Choosing not to speak up, choosing not to take the risk, choosing to scroll instead of grow. Over time, these small decisions form chains, and those chains become your normal. You feel stuck, not because life is against you, but because you keep choosing what feels easy instead of what's necessary. Comfort doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your potential. It only cares about one thing, keeping you safe in the short term. But you were not born to just survive. You were born to rise, to stretch, to evolve. And evolution requires discomfort. It requires breaking your own rules. It means waking up earlier than you want to, saying no when it would be easier to say yes, speaking truth even when your voice shakes, and walking away from people and environments that are comfortable but poisonous to your growth. To truly transform, you must be willing to end the life you've known. That means saying goodbye to your old routines. No more waking up with no plan. No more wasting time on distractions that don't serve your future. No more making excuses for your habits or blaming others for your stagnation. Growth starts when you accept full responsibility for where you are and full commitment to where you're going. But here's the truth, it's going to hurt. You'll feel lost at first. You'll miss the familiarity of your old life. You may even feel tempted to go back. That's normal. Transformation feels like death, because in many ways it is. You are killing the weaker version of yourself, the version that avoided pain, avoided accountability, avoided effort. That version must die, because it cannot carry the weight of the life you truly want. This process won't be instant. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because on the other side of discomfort is a new you, stronger, sharper, more focused, and more alive. That person is waiting to be born. But first, you must lay the old you to rest. The death of comfort is the birth of power. So dig the grave, Say the final goodbye and step into the fire of transformation. Your new life is waiting, but it cannot begin until your old one ends. Chapter 2. Face the mirror. Brutal honesty as the key to rebirth. You cannot become someone new if you're still lying to yourself about who you are. Real transformation doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with truth, raw, unfiltered, and sometimes painful truth. You must be willing to face the mirror, not just glance at it. Look deeply into your own eyes and ask yourself the questions most people avoid. Am I proud of who I've become? Am I living up to my potential? What am I pretending not to know? Brutal honesty is not about beating yourself up. It's about waking yourself up. It's admitting that you've been holding yourself back, not because life is unfair, but because somewhere deep down, you chose safety over courage. You chose distraction over purpose. You chose to stay the same while telling yourself you were trying. That's hard to admit, but that admission is your first step toward freedom. Too many people try to build a new life on top of lies. They set goals without examining the habits that keep them stuck. They chase success without acknowledging the mindset that sabotages every opportunity. But if the foundation is cracked, the house will fall. Your foundation is your self-awareness, your willingness to stop blaming the world and take full ownership of your life. That requires ruthless introspection. You have to identify the behaviors that drain you, the thoughts that limit you, and the relationships that shrink you. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? What excuses am I addicted to? Who do I become when no one is watching? This isn't about impressing others. It's about finally getting honest with yourself. When you know exactly what's holding you back, you can finally break free from it. But if you stay in denial, you'll stay in chains. You must also understand that facing the mirror is not a one-time event. It's a daily habit. Every morning you must look at yourself and recommit to the new you. You must remind yourself that the old version is no longer welcome. Because every time you slip back into old patterns, every time you lie to yourself to feel better, you give your past power over your future. Brutal honesty is the cleansing fire. It strips you of ego. It burns away the illusions. And in the ashes, you find something real, your potential, your raw truth. The real you, not the one that posts online, not the one who performs for others. The you that is ready to rise, but has been buried under fear and pretending. You cannot grow until you confront yourself. So stand still, be silent, face the mirror, and do not look away. Because the moment you choose truth over comfort is the moment your transformation begins. Chapter 3. Build a new identity with ruthless discipline. The old you was built by accident, shaped by habit, fear, and outside influence. But the new you must be built by design. That means you can no longer rely on motivation, emotion, or mood to guide your actions. You need something stronger, something unshakable. That force is discipline, and not just casual discipline, but ruthless discipline. Discipline that doesn't wait until you feel like it. Discipline that executes even when it's raining, even when it's late, even when no one is watching. You're not just changing your behavior, you're building a completely new identity. That identity must have its own language, its own habits, its own energy. It must be rooted in action, not empty words. You can say, "I want to be better," all day long. But the real question is, are you showing up like someone who is? Are your choices in alignment with the future you, or do they still serve the old one? Your identity is shaped by what you repeatedly do. So if you want to become someone disciplined, focused, confident, you need to start acting like it before you feel like it. Wake up earlier, Train harder. Read instead of scrolling. Speak less and listen more. Say no to what distracts you and yes to what challenges you. Do this even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is where your new identity takes shape. Discipline is not a punishment, it's a path. It's the daily practice of choosing what you want most over what you want now. You're rewiring your mind, you're reprogramming your actions. You're planting the seeds of greatness, even when there's no harvest yet. And that takes faith. Faith in the process, faith in the future version of you. Because nothing will change unless you change your routine, your reaction, your rituals. Ruthless discipline also means protecting your energy. You can no longer afford to hang around people who drain you, entertain thoughts that weaken you, or engage in habits that distract you. You must make your environment reflect your new standards. Every item on your desk, every person in your circle, every app on your phone, it either helps you rise or keeps you stuck. Choose wisely. There will be days when it's hard, days when you want to quit. That's when most people fall. But not you, because the new you doesn't rely on inspiration. The new you is built on commitment, built on routine, built on showing up even when it's boring, even when it hurts. This is how warriors are made, not through grand moments, but through silent consistency. The new identity you're building will not be handed to you. It must be earned, with sweat, with sacrifice, with silence. But one day, you'll look in the mirror and see someone unrecognizable, not because you changed, but because you finally became who you were meant to be. And it all started with ruthless discipline. Chapter 4. Burn the backup plan. Destroy the option to quit. One of the most dangerous things holding people back from transformation is not failure, it's having a backup plan. A mental escape route. A secret door you keep slightly open, just in case this doesn't work out. It sounds logical, even smart, but in truth, it's the very thing keeping you from going all in. As long as you leave yourself a way back to your old life, you will always return to it the moment things get hard. The old version of you lives behind that backup plan. That safety net is not protecting you. It's trapping you. It's giving you permission to quit when things get uncomfortable. But real transformation doesn't happen with 1 foot in and 1 foot out. It happens when there's no other option, when the bridge is burned, when you're standing at the edge of the cliff and the only way forward is to leap into your new self. Think about it. If you truly had no choice but to become disciplined, strong, and focused, wouldn't you do it? If you knew there was no return, no comfort to run back to, wouldn't you push harder, dig deeper, and rise higher? The answer is yes. Because when you eliminate the option to quit, your full power comes alive. It's only when you're fully committed that your true strength reveals itself. Burning the backup plan means removing anything that gives you a reason to settle. If the environment you're in keeps pulling you backward, leave it. If the people around you constantly feed your old habits, distance yourself. If the tools you use distract more than they help, cut them out. You must make your new path the only path. No detours, no exceptions, no maybe later. This is the way now, and the only way. The reason most people never evolve is because they keep negotiating with their future. They say things like, "I'll start Monday, let me just get through this month," or "maybe when I'm ready." But there's never a perfect time. Waiting is a trap. The longer you wait, the louder your doubts become. The only way to silence them is through action. Right now, burn the bridge back to your comfort zone, and you'll be shocked at how fast your mindset changes. This chapter is about extreme accountability. It's about telling yourself the truth, that the only reason you haven't become who you want to be is because you keep giving yourself a way out. You keep saying you're committed, but your actions still reflect hesitation. That ends now, because the version of you that rises to greatness has no exit plan, only a mission, a direction, a destiny. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be worth it. The fire you feel when you burn the backup plan will either destroy your weakness or reveal your strength. And if you keep walking forward, through fear, through doubt, through uncertainty, you'll look back one day and realize the greatest decision you ever made was to never look back. The bridge is behind you. Let it burn. Chapter 5. Train the inner voice. Rewire your self-talk for power. If you want to transform your life, you must first transform the way you speak to yourself. Your inner voice, the constant stream of thoughts inside your mind, is either your greatest weapon or your most dangerous enemy. It shapes your identity. It determines your confidence. It influences every decision you make. And the truth is, most people lose the battle before it begins, not because they're not talented or capable, but because their mind is filled with a voice that tells them they're not enough. This voice didn't appear overnight. It was built from years of doubt, failure, criticism, and comparison. Maybe you were told you weren't smart enough, strong enough, or good enough. Maybe you failed at something important, and that failure left a scar. Maybe you've spent years repeating negative thoughts to yourself without even realizing it. Over time, that voice became familiar, and now it speaks before you even try. Don't bother. You always mess this up. This is too hard for you. And slowly you start to believe it. That's the trap. The old you lives in that voice. But here's the truth. That voice is not you. It is learned. And anything learned can be unlearned. You must train your inner voice the way an athlete trains their body, with daily effort, relentless repetition, and intentional correction. That begins with awareness. Start by noticing how you speak to yourself in difficult moments. When you make a mistake, do you call yourself a failure? When you face a challenge, do you assume you'll lose? Catch the thought in real time. Pause. Interrupt the pattern. This alone is a powerful step because you take back control from the automatic program running your mind. Now replace it, not with blind positivity, but with purposeful power. Speak to yourself like you would speak to someone you believe in. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm improving every day." Replace "What if I fail" with "What if I rise?" The brain is listening. And over time, it will start to follow the voice it hears most often. This is not fake confidence. This is reprogramming. Your words become your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your identity. And your identity creates your reality. If you keep speaking like a victim, you will live like one. But if you speak like a warrior, like someone who refuses to lose, your life will begin to mirror that strength. The difference between the old you and the new you often starts with a single word: choice. You get to choose what you say to yourself. And that choice changes everything. Training your inner voice also means guarding it. Be careful what you allow into your ears, the people you listen to, the content you consume, the conversations you entertain. All of it influences your inner dialogue. Surround yourself with voices that uplift, challenge, and strengthen your vision. Cut out anything that makes you doubt your value or your mission. Because your inner voice doesn't live in isolation. It's shaped by your environment. In the beginning, your new voice will feel unnatural. That's okay. Growth is always awkward before it's automatic. You're rewiring a system that's been running for years. But with time and discipline, that voice becomes louder, stronger, sharper. And one day, you'll face a challenge, not with fear, but with clarity. Not with doubt, but with certainty. You'll hear yourself say, "I've got this." and you'll believe it. The transformation you're chasing begins with the conversation in your mind. Don't let that voice be careless. Don't let it be cruel. Teach it to be disciplined. Teach it to be focused. Teach it to be your ally, because once your inner voice becomes powerful, there's nothing outside of you that can stop you. Chapter 6. Master the mind, not just the moment. If you want to become a new version of yourself, mastering your mind isn't optional, it's essential. Most people only try to control their reactions in the moment, when emotions are already high, when stress is already building, when frustration has already taken over. But by then, it's too late. Real transformation happens when you stop living in reaction and start living in preparation. You don't just need to master the moment. You need to master the mind behind the moment. Your mind is where every battle begins. Before you speak, before you act, before you even feel, your thoughts are setting the tone. If your thoughts are chaotic, your actions will be scattered. If your thoughts are negative, your life will follow that negativity. If your mind is undisciplined, so will your emotions, your focus, your habits, and your direction. That's why mastering your mind is not about controlling every single thought. It's about learning to guide them, observe them, and not obey every single one that enters. Think of your mind as a wild horse. If you don't train it, it runs wherever it wants, usually toward fear, overthinking, anger, regret, or self-doubt. But with discipline, you learn to take the reins. You learn to pause, to question the thoughts you think, to separate truth from emotion. Just because a thought shows up doesn't mean it's real. Just because you feel something doesn't mean it deserves a reaction. The old version of you reacted to everything. The new you must respond with wisdom. This is where emotional mastery begins. Emotional control is not suppression, it's selection. It's learning to respond based on values, not impulses. When someone disrespects you, the old you might lash out or shrink in silence. But the new you pauses, breathes, chooses, responds with clarity. That's strength, that's power, not because you're fake, but because you've trained yourself to no longer be ruled by chaos. Mastering the mind also means becoming aware of your patterns. Ask yourself, what throws me off? What drains my peace? What thoughts show up on repeat? These are not just random, they're mental programs that need to be rewritten. Every time you react the same way to stress, to fear, to triggers, you reinforce the old identity. But every time you pause, interrupt, and redirect your thoughts, you reclaim your power, even if it's only for a few seconds at first. That's where mastery begins. You also need structure. The mind thrives when it has discipline and clarity. Create mental routines. Start the day with silence or reflection before the noise of the world floods in. Practice journaling, not for others but for yourself, to see your own thoughts more clearly. Read books that elevate your thinking, study philosophies that ground you, and protect your focus as if your future depends on it, because it does. Another key to mastering your mind is learning to sit with stillness. Most people avoid silence because they're afraid of what they'll hear in their own head. But stillness is where awareness grows. Sit, breathe, don't distract, just observe. The thoughts that rise, the emotions that swirl, the impulses that itch to be acted on, watch them, don't obey them. The more you do this, the more you'll realize you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. And that awareness is freedom. In this stillness, you'll discover that your mind isn't the enemy. It's a tool, a powerful one. But like any tool, it must be used correctly. You must sharpen it with knowledge, train it with practice, strengthen it with repetition, and clear it of clutter so it can serve you instead of sabotage you. Remember, the storms outside don't matter if the storm inside is calm. Life will always be unpredictable. People will test you, situations will disappoint you, emotions will rise, but the one thing you can always train is your response. The mind that is trained in calm will remain unshaken while the world crumbles. You don't become strong by avoiding difficulty. You become strong by mastering yourself in difficulty. And self-mastery begins in the mind. So don't just work on your reactions. Rewire the source. Make your mind your strongest muscle. Because once you master it, you'll realize there's no force more powerful on earth than a person whose mind is fully under their command. Chapter 7. Live like the person you're becoming. Becoming a new version of yourself doesn't start when the world believes in you. It starts the moment you begin to live like that version, before the proof, before the success, before the recognition. Most people wait. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they have more money, more support, more validation. But transformation doesn't reward the ones who wait. It rewards the ones who walk like it's already true. Because change doesn't happen in the future, it begins in your next decision, and then the next, and the next. You must understand something powerful. Identity is not something you find. It is something you act into. Your habits shape your identity. Your decisions confirm who you are. If you wake up every day and act like your future self, with discipline, focus, gratitude, strength, your mind and body will begin to align with that identity. You won't need to force change. You'll become the change. But here's the key. It's not about pretending. It's about embodying. The future version of you, confident, healthy, calm, relentless, that version already exists inside you, but it's buried under excuses, distractions, and outdated stories you keep telling yourself. Stories like, "I've always been this way," or "It's too late for me," or "I'm not ready yet." These stories are not truths, they are chains, and you can break them by refusing to live like the past version of you even one more day. Ask yourself daily, what would the strongest version of me do right now? Then do that. If your future self wakes up early, train yourself to rise with purpose. If your future self eats clean and moves their body, make those choices now. If your future self speaks with confidence and walks with peace, start walking like that today, not next week. The more you act like the person you want to become, the faster that person becomes real. Living like the person you're becoming also means learning to make decisions from the future, not from the past. Most people make choices based on who they've been, their fears, failures, patterns. But the new you must make choices based on vision. Who do you want to be 5 years from now? How does that version of you spend their time? Who do they surround themselves with? What do they say yes to, and what do they walk away from without hesitation? This is not about faking it. It's about aligning your life with your higher standard. It's about choosing behaviors, relationships, environments, and thoughts that pull you forward, not hold you back. And when you start making those choices, your energy shifts, your mindset sharpens, your confidence rises, not because everything outside you changed, but because you did. And don't expect everyone to understand this new you. Some people will resist your growth. They'll remind you of who you used to be. They'll say you've changed like it's a bad thing. But that's the point. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to rise, to outgrow your old limitations, to evolve. If people don't get it, that's okay. Let them talk. Let them watch. One day they'll understand, or they'll be left behind. Also know this, the new you is not perfect. You will still slip, still make mistakes, still feel fear. That's part of the process. But don't let a bad day become a reason to go back. Don't let a weak moment erase your growth. Instead, forgive yourself, learn from it, and continue forward, because every step you take in alignment with your future self makes that version more real. This chapter is not about information. It's about activation. You already know what you need to do. You've already imagined who you want to become. Now the question is, are you willing to live like it? Not someday, not when it's convenient. Now, because when you walk, talk, move, and choose like the person you're becoming, you're no longer chasing change. You are the change. And once you commit to that identity fully, nothing from your past can pull you back. The new you has arrived. Keep walking. Chapter 8. The new you must be protected at all costs. Transformation is not a one-time event. It's a continuous decision. And once you've started becoming the new version of yourself, there's something critical you must understand. The new you is fragile at first. Like a seed just planted in the soil, the beginning stages of your growth are the most vulnerable. If you don't protect the new you, the old world will pull you right back into your old identity. You've come too far to let that happen. You've worked hard to silence the voice of self-doubt. You've broken routines that held you down. You've started speaking differently, acting differently, thinking differently. That's not small. That's sacred. And sacred things must be protected, because the moment you step back into old environments, old conversations, old relationships, you risk waking up the old version of you you've worked so hard to bury. Here's the reality. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some people benefited from the weaker version of you, the one that said yes too much, stayed silent too often, or played small to keep the peace. They may try to pull you back, not out of hate, but because your change makes them uncomfortable. Your discipline exposes their laziness. Your progress confronts their excuses. Your new mindset threatens their comfort. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself shrinking again. Not because you're weak, but because you forgot to guard your elevation. That's why you must become a guardian of your energy. Your new mindset, your new focus, your new vision, it must be protected like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. The quality of your future depends on the boundaries you set today. You must be selective with your time. You must choose environments that reinforce your growth, not repeat your history. You must learn to say no, even when it's uncomfortable, because every yes to something low-level is a no to your highest self. Protecting the new you also means monitoring what you consume, what you watch, what you listen to, what you scroll through. It's all programming your subconscious. You didn't come this far just to fill your mind with distractions again. Feed your brain with wisdom. Read books that stretch your thinking. Watch content that elevates your spirit. Surround yourself with voices that push you higher. The new you must live in a new mental atmosphere. It also means protecting your inner peace. The old you chased validation. The new you seeks alignment. Protect your stillness. Don't chase noise. Don't respond to every insult. Don't prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to explain your transformation to people who aren't willing to transform themselves. Your peace is not arrogance. It's proof of your growth. Sometimes protection means distance. You'll have to walk away from people you love but who no longer support your future. That's hard. But not everyone can go where you're going. Some people were part of your past, but they're not meant for your next chapter. Letting go doesn't mean hate. It means maturity. It means understanding that protecting your potential is more important than preserving old attachments. Protecting the new you also requires rest. Not laziness, but recovery. Transformation is exhausting. Mental rewiring, emotional growth, spiritual clarity, these things drain energy. Make time to recharge, spend time in solitude, reflect, breathe. You're not a machine. You're a human in the process of becoming more powerful than ever before. Rest doesn't slow the journey, it fuels it. And lastly, you must protect your standards. Once you've raised them, never lower them again. The new you doesn't tolerate what the old you accepted. The new you doesn't chase what the old you begged for. Don't compromise to fit into spaces you've outgrown. If something forces you to be less than who you are becoming, it's not for you. Walk away with your head high. Your standards are not up for negotiation. You didn't come this far to turn back. You didn't kill your old self just to resurrect it when life gets hard. This version of you, the one that's more aware, more disciplined, more in control, it must be guarded fiercely, not with arrogance, but with intention, because everything you've built is worth protecting. The world will try to distract you. Life will try to pull you back, but you now have the awareness to recognize it. You now have the strength to resist it. You now have the clarity to protect your path. This is your reminder. The new you is real, and it's worth defending every single day, at all costs. Chapter 9. The past has no power unless you return to it. No matter how far you've come, no matter how much you've changed, if you keep looking back, you'll never move forward with full power. The past is only powerful if you keep feeding it your attention. And too many people try to build a new life while still staring at the ruins of the old one. You can't rise if you're still clinging to what broke you. The new you is ready, but it cannot walk freely if you keep dragging the weight of who you used to be. It's time to understand a simple truth. Your past is a place of reference, not residence. You can learn from it, but you cannot live in it. Every time you replay an old mistake, revisit an old hurt, or reopen an old story, you're giving power to a version of yourself that no longer exists. And worse, you're slowing down the person you're becoming. Yes, the past shaped you, but it doesn't define you. The things you did when you didn't know better are not who you are now. The people who left, the failures you faced, the shame you carried, those moments were chapters, not your entire book. Your growth is not invalidated by your history. If anything, your scars are proof that you didn't quit. They are not reminders of your weakness, but evidence of your rise. But to truly move on, you must make peace with the past, not by denying it, but by facing it with strength. What happened, happened. It cannot be changed, but your relationship with it can. Instead of asking, "Why did that happen to me?" start asking, "What did that teach me?" Instead of saying, "I wish I never went through that," start saying, "That moment broke me, but it also revealed what I needed to heal." This is how you take the sting out of your history. You reframe it. You stop being a prisoner of it, and you start becoming the author of it. And yes, people from your past will try to remind you of who you used to be. They'll question your change. They'll bring up your old habits, your old failures, your old identity. That's okay. Let them talk. You don't need to explain your transformation to anyone still addicted to the old version of you. You're not here to prove them wrong. You're here to prove yourself right. Their memory of you is outdated. You've evolved, and they're still looking at a photograph while you've become a motion picture. Moving on also means forgiveness. Not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. You can't fully transform if you're still punishing yourself for past decisions. You're not the same person you were back then. You've grown, you've learned, you've healed. At some point, you have to stop reopening wounds and let them become wisdom. Self-forgiveness isn't weakness. It's an act of inner liberation. It says, "I refuse to be chained by what I can't change. I choose to move forward." Your mind will occasionally wander back. That's natural. But when it does, gently pull it forward. Remind yourself, "I don't live there anymore." And more importantly, don't return to patterns that built the version of you that you've already outgrown. Don't re-enter toxic relationships out of nostalgia. Don't pick up dead habits just because they feel familiar. Don't confuse comfort with belonging. If it cost you your peace the first time, it will cost you your progress the second time. The past is over. What matters now is what you're doing with the present moment. Every decision you make is either building your future or rebuilding your past. So ask yourself, am I acting from pain or from purpose? Am I repeating or am I reinventing? You have a choice: to carry the past like a burden, or to use it as a foundation to build something better. Don't waste your energy trying to rewrite what's already been written. Use that energy to create the next chapter, one that's filled with strength, with clarity, with intention, one where the new you is not just surviving, but thriving. And most of all, remember this: you're not running away from the past. You're simply refusing to live there anymore. The old you had its time, but your time is now. Close the door, burn the map, and never look back. The future is calling, and it doesn't speak the language of regret. Chapter 10. Your transformation is not a phase, it's who you are now. There comes a moment in your journey when you must decide, is this just a temporary burst of motivation, or is this who I truly am now? Because transformation only becomes permanent when you stop treating it like a season and start living it as an identity. Real change doesn't stick when you dip in and out of it. It takes root when you own it. Breathe it, walk it, speak it. Not sometimes, all the time. Not when it's easy, especially when it's not. You've made progress. You've shed old habits, silenced destructive thoughts, stepped into discomfort, and broken through walls that once looked impossible. That's not a phase. That's a becoming. But you must now protect this new version of yourself with everything you've got. Because if you treat your transformation like a trend, like a 30-day challenge or a burst of inspiration, it will fade. But if you wear it like your skin, if you carry it in your posture, your speech, your actions, then it becomes unshakable. You have to shift from trying to be better to being better. There's a difference. Trying still leaves room for doubt. Being is certainty. Trying says, let's see how long I can keep this up. Being says, this is me now. It's no longer about temporary habits or short-term effort. It's about internal commitment. When you fully embody who you've become, you stop negotiating with your weakness. You stop compromising your values. You stop allowing old excuses to walk freely in a space you've now purified. This is the part where many fall off. They start strong but return to their old ways because they never made the decision final. They left the door cracked open. They didn't burn the identity of who they used to be. That's why they backslide. Not because they lack ability, but because they never fully committed to the new identity they were building. You must make that commitment now, right here. Declare it with your actions. I don't live there anymore. I don't move like that anymore. I don't think like that anymore. I am no longer who I used to be. That doesn't mean you won't make mistakes. It doesn't mean you'll never have weak days. But it does mean you never allow those moments to redefine you. Setbacks are part of the path. But when transformation becomes your identity, setbacks become stepping stones, not stopping points. You learn, you adjust, you grow stronger, you don't shrink, you don't start over, you rise. Owning your transformation also means adjusting how you see yourself. You must stop viewing yourself through the lens of your past. Stop labeling yourself as broken, lazy, not good enough, always behind. That's not who you are anymore. That language belongs to the version of you that no longer exists. Speak from your strength now. Say, I am focused, I am disciplined, I am in control of my life. Speak it until your subconscious accepts it as truth. Because that's how identity solidifies, not through emotion, but through repetition and aligned action. You also need to stop expecting others to affirm your transformation. This is your path, not theirs. Some people will still see you as who you were. That's fine. Let them. They don't get to decide who you become. You do. Your consistency will prove what your words never could. So stay focused, stay grounded. Keep showing up as the new you until even your past can't recognize you anymore. And perhaps most importantly, stop waiting for life to give you permission to live as the new you. Stop waiting for a perfect moment, a clearer sign, or someone else's approval. You don't need it. You've earned this shift. You've fought for it, cried for it, worked for it. This version of you wasn't handed to you. It was built, and no one can take that away unless you surrender it. And you won't. Because now you understand, this is not just a journey. It's a transformation that rewrote your very foundation. It's not about trying harder. It's about living deeper. It's not about chasing something outside. It's about becoming something inside. That's what lasting transformation truly is. So walk with your head high. Breathe in the strength you've cultivated. Step into every room like someone who knows who they are. You don't owe the world an apology for evolving. You don't owe the past any more of your power. What you owe yourself is consistency, conviction, and the courage to keep walking in your new truth, even when no one claps for it. This isn't just a better version of you. This is you. Now live like it, every single day. Chapter 11. Don't just inspire yourself. Redesign your entire reality. Becoming a new you isn't just about feeling inspired. It's about making everything around you reflect that transformation. Inspiration without structure fades. Motivation without strategy dies. If you've truly changed on the inside, the outside must begin to reflect that. Your environment, your habits, your relationships, your routines, all of it must evolve to support your new identity. Because if you keep living in the same world you built as your old self, you will slowly shrink back into it. Change that is only internal, is unstable. To make it last, you have to redesign your reality. Start with your physical space, your room, your desk, your phone, your schedule. Every part of your environment sends a message to your subconscious. If your space is chaotic, your mind will feel scattered. If your space is filled with distractions and low-energy routines, your focus will weaken. But when your environment is intentional, clean, and aligned with who you are becoming, it strengthens you without you even realizing it. Your room should feel like it belongs to the person you're becoming. Is it organized? Is it energizing? Are your goals visible? Are your tools ready? Look at everything around you and ask, does this help me grow or keep me stuck? If something doesn't serve your vision, remove it. Create a space that reflects your discipline, a space that reminds you who you are now, a space that feeds your purpose, not your past. Next, look at your digital world. Your phone isn't just a tool, it's an extension of your mind. Every app, every notification, every scroll either trains you to grow or trains you to escape. Eliminate apps that waste your time. Unfollow people who distract your focus. Stop consuming content that keeps you mentally small. Replace it with voices that challenge you, books that grow you. Content that wakes up the warrior in you, not the victim. Now examine your daily routines. The new you doesn't live randomly. The new you is intentional. Ask yourself, what does my morning say about me? What do I do in my first hour after waking up? What's the first thing I feed my brain? What's the last thing I think about before sleep? If your days are built on autopilot, you will fall back into who you used to be. But if your days are built by design, you'll rise further than you imagined. Create rituals that support clarity, peace, movement, reflection, and growth. Don't wait for life to push you. Build a system that pulls you forward. Then, turn to your relationships. No transformation survives in a toxic environment if the people around you constantly remind you of your old self, constantly pull you into drama, gossip, laziness, or small thinking. You must make a hard decision, either pull them up or pull away. You are not obligated to stay loyal to people who are disloyal to your evolution. This isn't about judgment, it's about alignment. You're not better than anyone, but you are becoming someone better, and that deserves protection. Surround yourself with people who challenge your limits, people who see your future, not just your history, people who speak life into your goals, not death. The new you needs a circle that mirrors your new mindset. If you can't find it, build it. Be the example. Walk so boldly in your new identity that others rise just by watching you. Also, look at your language. Not just what you say to others, but what you say to yourself. Redesign your vocabulary. Stop saying, "I'm trying," and start saying, "I'm becoming." Stop saying, "one day," and start saying, "this day." Speak with precision. Speak with belief. Speak as if the new you already exists, because every word you say is a brick in the world you're building. And lastly, redesign your time. Time is the currency of transformation. Where it goes, your life follows. If you want to see massive change, you must track and treasure your time. Don't just fill your day, own it. Prioritize deep work, schedule learning, make space for reflection. Let go of mindless scrolling, aimless talking, and purposeless living. Time is not just passing, it's building. So make every minute count for the new you. Your transformation is not just about changing your mindset. It's about rebuilding your whole world to support that mindset. Think of it like this. You are no longer a guest in your future. You're the architect of it. You decide the structure, the design, the direction. If anything in your world feels misaligned, fix it. If anything feels like it belongs to the old you, let it go. You've come too far to live in a world built for a weaker version of yourself. Now is the time to redesign everything around you until it reflects the strength, clarity, and purpose you've built within. When your internal world and external world are finally aligned, there will be no force strong enough to stop you. This isn't about making small improvements. This is about radical ownership. Don't just feel inspired. Redesign your reality to match the new you. Chapter 12. Walk as if you're already free, because you are. Transformation isn't complete when you feel better. It's complete when you stop carrying chains that no longer exist. Most people don't stay stuck because of their circumstances. They stay stuck because of a mindset that hasn't caught up to their growth. They've already broken out of the prison, but they still walk like prisoners. They've already been set free from the past, but they still live like they're trapped by it. The door is open. The weight is gone. But if you don't walk like someone who is already free, you'll mentally live in a cage that no longer holds you. You must walk like it every day, not with arrogance, but with certainty, with calm strength, with that quiet, powerful energy that says, "I've been through the fire, and I didn't just survive, I became something in it," because that's what this journey is about. You didn't go through all this pain, all this effort, all this change just to return to normal. You went through it to become untouchable, not in the sense that nothing affects you, but in the sense that nothing controls you anymore. You've broken patterns, you've rebuilt habits, you've reclaimed your time, your energy, your mind. That's freedom. But now you have to own it. You have to stop waiting for permission to feel powerful. Stop waiting for someone else to recognize your worth. Stop waiting for the next goal, the next dollar, the next title to finally believe in who you are. You are free now. You are powerful now. And if you don't walk like it, the world won't treat you like it. This chapter is about embodiment. The difference between transformation and illusion is how you carry yourself. If you've changed, your posture should reflect it. Your speech should reflect it. Your silence should reflect it. Your presence should say everything, even when you say nothing. People should feel your discipline, your peace, your strength, without you needing to announce it. But here's the truth. Walking like you're free is not always easy. The world will test you. People will try to poke holes in your peace. Circumstances will try to pull you back into worry, doubt, comparison, anxiety, and this is where you prove who you are now, not by shouting, not by forcing, but by remaining centered, calm, grounded. That's real freedom, not needing to react, not needing to chase, not needing to explain, just knowing. And that inner knowing must be practiced. Every day you must wake up and choose to walk in alignment with your freedom. That means protecting your boundaries without guilt. That means doing the right thing even when no one sees it. That means not shrinking your light just because it makes others uncomfortable. Freedom doesn't ask for applause. It just is. And when you truly walk in it, you realize that peace is louder than noise, that clarity is stronger than chaos, and that a free mind is more dangerous than any weapon. Walking as if you're already free also means letting go of false identities. You are not your past mistakes. You are not the roles others forced on you. You are not who people said you were. You are not your trauma. You are not your survival mode. You are not who you had to be when you were trying to survive. You are who you chose to become once you knew you deserved better. That's the version that must now lead the way. So let your actions reflect that freedom. Walk into rooms without shrinking. Say no without guilt. Set standards without apology. Speak only when it adds value. Move with purpose. Take up space. Not because you're better, but because you've become better. And you don't owe your past any more explanations. You don't owe old identities any more airtime. You don't need to defend your growth to people who never supported it. You are already free. The chains were never physical. They were mental. The new you unlocked that door. Now your job is to walk out of it, step by step, day by day. Let every movement, every decision, every boundary reflect a mind that is no longer controlled by fear, insecurity, or doubt. Let the way you walk show the world that freedom is not something you ask for. It's something you embody, quietly, completely, unshakably. You've earned this freedom. Now live like it, not tomorrow, not when it's perfect. Now, Chapter 13. Never look back. Your old life has nothing new to say. There comes a point in every real transformation where you must make a final decision. Am I moving forward, or am I keeping one foot in the past? Because the truth is, your old life will keep calling. Not because it has anything new to offer, but because it wants to test how serious you are about your evolution. It will show up in familiar temptations, in old thoughts, in people who once knew the weaker version of you. And if you're not rooted in your decision to move forward, you'll find yourself revisiting places, habits, and mindsets you already outgrew. But here's the truth. Your old life has nothing new to say. You've already lived it, already cried through it, already lost enough time in it. There is no wisdom in going back to what almost destroyed you just because it feels familiar. Growth is uncomfortable, yes, but so is staying stuck. So is replaying regret. So is living with the heaviness of wasted potential. You have to decide, fully and finally, that the old version of you is gone. That means letting go of the stories you used to tell yourself. Stories like, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe this is just who I am. Those are lies wrapped in emotion, and the more you repeat them, the more they feel like truth. But they're not. They are echoes from a version of you that didn't know what you now know. They are outdated scripts, and it's time to delete them. You also have to stop romanticizing your past. Stop missing what almost broke you. Stop longing for moments that led to cycles. You're not homesick. You're addicted to familiarity. That's what the mind does. It clings to what it knows, even if it hurts. But you are no longer that person. You've done the work. You've cried the tears. You've broken the cycles. And now you have a choice. Stay loyal to the old version of you, or stay loyal to the new path you're building. That also means letting go of the need to explain your change to people from your past. You don't need to convince anyone that you've grown. You don't need to revisit old conversations to prove that you've healed. You don't need to walk backward just to show people who doubted you how far you've come. Let your distance speak for itself. Let your consistency do the talking. People who really want to know who you are now will find you ahead, not behind. Your focus now must become sacred. You've invested too much to go back to distraction. The old habits may still whisper, the old thoughts may still rise. But now you see them clearly. You're no longer blind to the patterns. You're no longer addicted to the noise. You can recognize when something feels like your past. And your job is simple. Don't engage. Don't respond. Don't return. You're not that person anymore. And if you do slip, if you have a weak moment, if you revisit an old habit, don't shame yourself. Just remember, that moment is not your home. It's not your identity. It's a signal, a reminder. And now you have the power to choose again. You are no longer reacting blindly. You are deciding consciously. That's the difference. That's growth. Moving forward also means rewriting your expectation. Stop hoping that your past will fix itself. Stop expecting closure from people who never gave it. Stop waiting for apologies that will never come. You don't need those things to heal. You don't need the past to be resolved. You just need to be done with it. Some doors are meant to be closed, not with anger, but with wisdom. You've learned the lesson. That's the closure. You're not supposed to drag your old life into your new season. That weight will only slow you down. The friendships that faded, the opportunities you missed, the mistakes you made, let them go. Not because they didn't matter, but because you matter more. Your peace matters more. Your future matters more. And you cannot fully step into your power while still holding the hand of your past. This is not a sprint. It's a lifelong journey, but the direction matters. And today, your direction must be forward, relentlessly forward. Every time you're tempted to look back, remind yourself, there is nothing there for me anymore. Not who you were, not what you did, not who you lost. The version of you that still needs the past is gone, so walk like it, decide like it, live like it. You're not turning back. Not ever again, because the old life has nothing new to say, and the new you has everything still to become. Chapter 14. Protect your peace, like it's your purpose. Peace is not a luxury. It's not a bonus you get after success. It's not something you wait for when life becomes easier. Peace is a discipline, one that must be earned, built, protected, and prioritized. Because without peace, your progress becomes stressful, your success becomes hollow, and your transformation becomes unstable. You can achieve everything on the outside, but if you're still at war on the inside, you've gained nothing. The new you must protect peace like it's sacred, because it is. You've fought too hard to calm the chaos inside your mind. You've broken toxic cycles, walked away from people who drained you, reprogrammed your habits, and reclaimed your identity. That wasn't easy. It required deep work, silent tears, difficult decisions, and relentless discipline. That kind of peace wasn't handed to you, it was earned. And now your job is to defend it with everything you've got. Peace is your foundation. It's the space where clarity lives, where intuition speaks, where creativity flows, where strength regenerates. It's not just silence, it's internal stillness, even when the world is loud. It's walking into a storm and remaining grounded. It's hearing criticism and not being shaken. It's facing uncertainty and not losing your center. This is what makes you powerful. Not how loud you can be, but how calm you can remain when everything around you is shaking. But protecting your peace requires boundaries. Not weak suggestions, not maybe lines, but firm, unshakable, unapologetic boundaries. You can no longer allow access to people who disrespect your growth. You can no longer say yes to conversations that steal your energy. You can no longer allow environments, messages, or habits that disturb your mental clarity. If something costs your peace, it's too expensive, no matter who or what it is. You must also learn to protect your peace in your mind. Most battles don't come from other people. They come from your own thoughts, that voice that overthinks everything, that habit of replaying old pain, that tendency to assume the worst. You must train your mind to not go to war with itself. When a thought rises that doesn't serve your peace, challenge it. Don't automatically accept every idea that pops into your head. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them, and you have the right to say, that thought doesn't belong here. Daily practices help: meditation, journaling, silence, gratitude. These are not luxury routines. They are weapons in the battle for your inner world. Start your day with peace, not your phone. End your day with reflection, not noise. Protect your sleep, protect your energy, protect your spirit. Because the world is full of chaos. And if you're not intentional, it will invade your soul before you even realize it. Sometimes protecting your peace means choosing solitude. Not isolation, but intentional stillness. There's power in pulling away, in turning off the noise, in being alone, not because you're broken, but because you're whole enough to enjoy your own company. Some days, the most powerful thing you can do is pause. Not react, not explain, just pause, breathe, reset. That moment of stillness is where your real strength lives. And don't let guilt weaken your boundaries. People will try to make you feel bad for choosing peace. They'll say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're too quiet, too guarded, too focused. Let them. They only see the silence. They don't know the storms you survived to earn it. They don't understand what it took to become this still, this clear, this unbothered. You owe no one your peace. You owe it to yourself. Your future self depends on it. Protecting peace also means not rushing everything. The old you chased timelines, rushed progress, compared your path to others. But peace comes from trusting divine timing, from knowing that your growth may be invisible right now, but it's unfolding exactly as it should. You are not behind. You are being prepared. And when you know that deeply, you stop forcing and you start flowing. That's peace. Lastly, protect your peace from your past. Don't allow old stories to hijack your current reality. The pain is real, but it's not current. You are not the same person you were in that moment. You are no longer defined by that version of you. The new you must live in the now, where peace is possible, where power is present, where the past has no more control unless you invite it back in. You've come too far. You've healed too much. You've grown too strong. Your peace is not optional, it's vital. Let it guide your decisions. Let it shape your relationships. Let it build your future. Because at the end of it all, true power is not being untouchable on the outside. It's being unshaken within. So protect your peace like it's your purpose. Because without it, nothing else lasts. Chapter 15. Stay committed to the new you, especially when no one's watching. The real test of transformation is not how loudly you talk about it. It's how deeply you live it when no one is watching. Anyone can be disciplined when eyes are on them. Anyone can post their goals, share their wins, talk about change, and seem like they're evolving. But true transformation reveals itself in private, in the silence, in those quiet hours where there is no audience, no applause, no external reward, only you, your choices, and your truth. That's where the new you is either built or betrayed. Because the hardest part of change isn't the beginning, it's the maintenance. Staying committed long after the excitement fades, continuing the new habits when it's inconvenient, saying no to old temptations when no one would even know if you slipped, choosing growth again and again and again, even when no one is there to validate it. That is where transformation becomes real, not a moment, not a phase, but your new identity. The truth is, your old self will always be waiting for you to get tired. It whispers when you're alone. Just this once won't hurt. You've earned a break. Who cares? No one will know. But here's the thing. You'll know. You'll feel it. That quiet drift backward, that subtle erosion of progress. And if you're not vigilant, those little moments of compromise become the cracks that collapse your new foundation. Staying committed to the new you means building integrity with yourself. It means doing the right thing, even when it's the hard thing, especially when it's the hard thing. It means having internal standards that are not based on who's watching, but who you've decided to be. It's about living with such alignment that your private life, your habits, your thoughts, your energy match the person you say you're becoming. This is where most people fail. They build their new life based on motivation, but motivation fades. Life gets busy, emotions shift. So if your change is built only on excitement, it will die in exhaustion. But when it's built on commitment, on non-negotiable values, routines, and principles, it endures. That's the new you, not someone chasing momentum, but someone led by mission. To stay committed, you need systems, you need structure. You need to remove decision fatigue by creating routines that anchor you even when you don't feel like showing up. You don't brush your teeth only when you're in the mood. You do it because it's non-negotiable. Treat your goals the same way. Movement, mindset work, stillness, boundaries. These must become your lifestyle, not your occasion. You also need to track your alignment, not just your results, but your behavior. Ask yourself regularly, did I show up today like the person I'm becoming? Did I speak, move, act, and choose from my higher self or from my patterns? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. And when you slip, don't shame yourself. Correct yourself, quickly, gently, powerfully. That's the difference between falling back and rising through it. And understand, there will be seasons when your growth is invisible. No one claps. No one sees your consistency. No one acknowledges your silence, your inner battles, your quiet wins. In those seasons, you must remember, you're not doing this for them. You're doing this because you promised yourself something. And that promise matters more than public recognition. Keep going, quietly, relentlessly. Also, avoid the trap of needing to constantly explain your commitment. Some people will question why you're so focused, why you've changed, why you no longer show up the same. That's okay. You're not obligated to convince them. Let your actions do the speaking. Let your consistency be your voice. The loudest people rarely make the biggest changes. It's the silent workers, the ones who stay grounded in the dark, that emerge transformed in the light. And lastly, celebrate your consistency. Not in a loud, boastful way, but with inner gratitude. Thank yourself for showing up, for not giving up, for choosing healing, for choosing better. Your commitment is not small. In a world full of distractions, compromise, and shortcuts, your discipline is rare. Honor that. Feed it. protect it. Because when you stay committed, especially when no one's watching, you begin to embody a power that cannot be shaken by circumstances, opinions, or setbacks. You become self-led, self-defined, unstoppable. That's what the new you needs more than anything. Not more motivation, but more devotion. Every single day. Chapter 16. The journey is the transformation. Fall in love with becoming. At some point in your evolution, you realize something that changes everything. The goal is not the destination, it's the becoming. You didn't start this journey just to reach a specific outcome. You started because something inside you whispered, "There's more." And now, after all the work, all the struggle, all the silent victories, you must understand that the most important thing isn't what you achieve. It's who you become on the way there. The old you obsessed over quick results, over instant change, over success you could show off to the world. The old you treated the journey like an obstacle between you and the reward. But the new you must think differently, because real transformation happens during the journey, not after it. The strength you seek doesn't come when you arrive. It's forged in the fire of the process. In the waking up early, the staying committed when you're tired, the silence you sit with when no one understands your path. That's where you're being built. Falling in love with the journey means learning to honor the process itself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's boring, even when it's full of setbacks, delays, or plateaus. Because that's life, that's growth, and that's what separates those who transform from those who quit. The ones who evolve aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who embrace the fall and rise smarter, clearer, stronger. Too many people quit on themselves because they don't feel progress every day. But becoming someone new isn't always loud. It's not always visible. Some days, transformation is quiet. It's unseen. It's choosing the harder path, saying no to an old habit, staying calm when you would have exploded, showing up without applause. That's becoming. And if you miss those moments, if you only value the big milestones, you'll never understand how deep your change truly is. You must learn to enjoy the daily victories, the small shifts, the slow grind, because every day you stay committed, you're becoming. You're reprogramming patterns that took years to build. You're upgrading your mental software. You're showing your subconscious a new way to exist. And that process is sacred. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. The new you is not a goal. It's a way of living. And when you treat the journey as the reward, something incredible happens. You never stop winning. Because now, the progress isn't just in reaching the mountaintop. It's in the climb. It's in the grit, the clarity, the trust. It's in knowing that no matter how far you still have to go, you've already come too far to stop. And when things get hard, and they will, you must remind yourself, you didn't come this far for ease. You came to become. You came to strip away everything false, everything weak, everything old that kept you small. You came to rise into your next level, and that rise comes with resistance. It's not punishment, it's preparation. So when you're tired, don't ask, how much longer? Ask, who am I becoming through this? When you feel lost, don't ask, why is this happening? Ask, what is this shaping in me? When you face setbacks, don't say, this means I'm failing. Say, this is where I get stronger. This mindset shift changes everything, because now you're not chasing results. You're living inside your transformation. Every choice, every thought, every action becomes an act of becoming. You're no longer desperate for the finish line because you realize the growth is in the movement. The glory is in the persistence. The power is in the person who chooses to keep going, even when it's hard, even when it's thankless, even when it's lonely. And in that space, where discipline meets surrender, where effort meets faith, You become untouchable, not because everything around you is perfect, but because everything within you is aligned. The journey is no longer a grind, it's an awakening, and once you taste that, you'll never trade it for shortcuts again. So fall in love with becoming, with the long days, with the quiet nights, with the discipline no one sees, with the changes no one applauds, with the internal victories that only you understand. Because one day the results will come, the breakthrough will arrive, the world will notice. But you won't be surprised, because you'll know. You already became that person a long time ago, and that's the real reward. The journey was the transformation all along. Chapter 17. Leave no pieces behind. Heal every corner of who you were. Transformation isn't complete when you change your habits. It's not finished when you reach a goal, shift your mindset, or build discipline. True transformation only becomes whole when you go back and heal the parts of yourself you tried to forget. You cannot fully become someone new while carrying pain that's still hidden. You can't rise into your highest self if pieces of your past are still buried beneath shame, regret, anger, or fear. The old wounds don't disappear just because you're moving forward. They wait, and if left unattended, they will quietly pull you back. This is the chapter that many people skip, because healing isn't always inspiring. It's not glamorous. It doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like sitting with the version of you that was afraid, the one that didn't know better, the one that broke down behind closed doors, the one that made mistakes, chased validation, tolerated what was killing them inside. You must go back, not to relive that pain, but to reclaim the parts of you that got frozen in those moments. You don't heal by avoiding your past. You heal by facing it. You name the wounds. You speak the truth. You stop pretending you were always strong. You stop acting like nothing affected you, because something did. And if you don't address it, you'll keep repeating cycles in disguise, running, achieving, growing on the surface, but never really free underneath. Healing every corner of who you were means you don't leave pieces of yourself behind just because they're inconvenient. It means you wrap your arms around every version of you, the hurt child, the angry teenager, the lost adult, the scared dreamer. You tell them, "We're safe now, we've changed, we've grown, but I won't pretend you didn't exist. I won't reject you. I'll integrate you. I'll carry your lessons, not your pain." This is where transformation deepens, not just in discipline and structure, but in wholeness. You no longer need to divide your identity into before and after. You no longer need to be ashamed of who you were. Instead, you recognize that every stage of your life had a purpose, even the dark ones, even the broken ones. They weren't failures, they were forging you. They built the resilience you now call strength. They sharpened the wisdom you now offer others. But here's the key. Healing isn't about blaming. It's about releasing. You stop pointing fingers. You stop waiting for apologies. You stop needing someone to admit they were wrong. Because when you hold on to bitterness, you don't chain them. You chain yourself. Forgiveness is not permission for what happened. It's liberation from the emotional prison it created inside of you. And that forgiveness must be extended inward too. You must forgive yourself for the times you stayed too long, for the times you didn't speak up, for the times you self-sabotaged. You were doing the best you could with what you had, with what you knew, with who you were. You've grown now. And growth is not about becoming someone better. It's about becoming someone complete. Start asking yourself, what parts of me have I ignored? What memories still sting when I think about them? What emotions do I still numb instead of feel? What versions of me have I disowned? These are not weaknesses. They're invitations to come home to yourself, to rewrite your story from a place of truth, not trauma, to make peace with the past, not by changing it, but by understanding it. Healing also means learning to hold space for your humanity. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't need to always have the answers. You don't need to pretend you're past every wound. Sometimes healing means being still, being gentle, letting yourself feel without judgment, cry without shame, rest without guilt. Growth is not always hard and sharp. Sometimes it's soft, quiet, kind. And as you heal, something beautiful happens. The energy you used to spend hiding parts of yourself now becomes energy you can use to build your future. You're no longer fragmented. You're no longer walking through life holding your breath, waiting to be triggered. You're free. And in that freedom, your power multiplies. Because now, your growth is not just performance, it's peace. This is what it means to be whole, to look in the mirror and see every version of yourself and love them all, not because they were perfect, but because they survived, because they kept going, because they led you here. Don't leave any part of yourself behind. Heal every corner, reclaim every piece, love every chapter, because your transformation is not just a new beginning, it's the full return to all of you. You've walked through fire. You've dismantled the past. You've rebuilt yourself from the inside out. This wasn't just about changing your habits. It was about burying the version of you that could no longer carry your destiny. And now you've emerged, sharper, stronger, quieter, wiser, not because life got easier, but because you became unshakable. Transformation isn't a moment. It's not a spark of motivation or a rush of adrenaline. It's a decision made again and again in silence, in solitude, in darkness. It's waking up on the days when nothing feels different, and still choosing growth. It's saying no when it's easier to give in. It's walking alone when no one claps, no one sees, and no one understands. That's what makes this real. The new you isn't an upgrade, it's a rebirth, a reintroduction to yourself, not the self shaped by fear, failure, or others' expectations, but the self designed by truth, discipline, and fire. That self doesn't chase validation. It doesn't react to noise. It doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. It just is, anchored, clear, whole. But now the real test begins, not in what you've read, but in what you'll do. Because this book is not the finish line. It's the threshold, the doorway to a life where every day is a vote for the future you're building, where every moment is a mirror asking, are you still becoming, or are you slipping back into who you once were? The truth is, you'll be tempted to shrink, to soften, to return to what's familiar. But you'll remember these pages, these choices, this voice, and you'll know you didn't come this far to go back. You didn't fight this hard to stay the same. You didn't bury your old self just to revive it in moments of weakness. You are no longer who you used to be. So walk forward, unapologetically. Speak less, move with purpose, stay calm, stay grounded, stay true, because the world will try to pull you back. But the fire inside you, that new you, was built to rise. Now live like it, not later, not when it's safe, now.